Hey, this is Adam from Chode Engineering Performance. Right here I've got a set of our 6.7 Powerstroke cylinder heads. These cylinder heads are offered from us with our reman exchange program. What that means for you is that when you call up and order these, we will have them ready to ship within 48 hours or less. We actually have a whole rack of these things ready to go right now. Odds are you're going to get them shipped to you a lot quicker than that, but at the most you're looking at a 48-hour time ready to ship. What that really means for you is less downtime for that truck. If you're a shop, it means less time that it's sitting in a bay, stopping you from being able to use that bay or that lift for other customers' vehicles. Either way, for everyone involved, it just means that truck gets back on the road working quicker, or if it's your daily driver, it's back on the road. You get to use it quicker, less downtime. All right, so let's talk about what goes into these heads. Obviously, these are reman heads, so each one comes into us as a core, of which I should note on our 48-hour turnaround, we will ship these things out to you and then just ship us back the core when you're ready. But okay, reman cores, these guys come in. Very first thing we do is break them down, pull the valves out, pull the springs out, pull any bolts, anything that's in there, and they go into a quick cleaning. After they go through that quick cleaning, we're doing an inspection on them to make sure that it's actually makes sense to remanufacture these heads. We're looking for cracks, things like that. From that point, they go into a very extensive cleaning process, making these things essentially surgically clean. Inside and out, everything is surgically clean before we start any work on it. They go through one more round of inspections, again, just because we want to make sure we don't run into any problems with these heads. All right, so from there, after that point, we are going to be machining this service perfectly flat, perfectly true, but it's a little more than just machining it perfectly flat and true. Today's MLS gaskets, multi-layer steel gaskets, unlike gaskets from years and years ago that were composite gaskets, or if we go even further back, copper gaskets, they were just inferior products to what we have today. Those gaskets were designed to take up voids, fill in imperfect machining. Basically, it was the machining that was available at that time. We're not that way anymore. New gaskets, MLS gaskets, perform much better at sealing. We have significantly less head gasket failure issues than we had a decade or two ago or more. But those MLS gaskets, like I said, they take a specific finish. It can't be too smooth, it can't be too rough. So we spend a significant amount of time making sure that the finish on these heads is perfect for those MLS gaskets. There is a standard, an industry standard, it's called roughness average. We spend a lot of time making sure we have that right RA, that right roughness average number in these heads. So as you feel them, they feel pretty smooth, but we got sophisticated equipment to be able to test and make sure that it's not too smooth, let's say. All right, from there, every single one of our heads gets new valve stem seals. It gets new upgraded valves, exhaust and intake, and reason being is the 6.7 Powerstroke has issues with the valves separating. So we don't reuse any valves. A lot of other manufacturers will actually take those valves that have problems and add material to them and grind them back down so they're concentric again. We've decided we don't want to do that. We're doing all new performance valves to make sure we don't have those problems again, because again, we don't do anything stock. If there is a problem, we are going to fix it, not band-aid it so it continues to rear its head 50,000, 100,000, 300,000 miles later. We are going to fix that issue and make sure it's fixed and done. So we're getting new valve stem seals, new intake valves, new exhaust valves, plus a 3-angle cut on the valve seat that just gives you optimal sealing, gives you a little improvement in flow as well. So that's what goes on with every single head. You go from there into our stage 2, and now every stage 2 head gets new valve guides. So you get everything that stage 1 had plus new valve guides. This being a stage 1, this being a stage 2, this is actually one that we're installing here in the shop, so it's already got some studs installed, but it's a good example for you guys. The stage 2 has some options that you can add to it for added performance. These are really overkill for stock. But if you have a very high horsepower or a vehicle that is, again, high horsepower, but is towing commercially, towing its whole life, heavy loads. I don't mean a cement mixer, I mean you're towing heavy loads. One of those options is fire rings. Excuse me, I keep saying that. O-rings. These are O-rings. When you install these O-rings in here, what it is we machine a groove around the combustion chamber and install a stainless steel wire in that groove, very precisely. That does two things for you. But in the end, what they're doing is it's maximizing or minimizing the possibility of a head gasket failure. But the two things it does, so that ring protrudes out just a little bit and adds a little more pressure onto that gasket. But what it also does is it dissipates heat. So heat in the combustion chamber is a very big contributor to head gasket failure. By helping distribute that heat with this ring, we are again helping to keep that gasket alive, that MLS, multi-layer steel gasket alive. Another option that you can get on the Stage 2 is, and you're not really going to be able to see from here, but upgraded pressure valve springs. So there is an issue at high RPM or high horsepower, really high boost is the right phrase, but high RPM or high boost, where the amount of boost coming out of that turbo is so high that that valve cannot physically close at all times. The pressure is actually blowing that valve open. The problem here is that when the piston comes up through the bore and gets to top dead center, if that valve is not closed, it can contact the piston and it's going to cause some damage, in many cases some very serious damage. This is also an issue with higher RPM engines. Basically that engine spinning so fast that the valve needs that added spring pressure to be able to close in time before the piston comes up and, like I said before, contacts it. So yeah, 48-hour turnaround. Send in your cores whenever you're ready. Yeah, we got a couple options. Really, best set of heads you can get for your 6.7. Give us a call and we'll get some set up for you. Thanks.